right, good morning, traders. This is Blake Morrow. You are listening to the Morning Edge webinar. I want to welcome you all and welcome you all back. We're going to get started with our morning analysis as we do every day. Even on slow days like today, when we have very tight trading ranges and it's in the middle of summer where nothing is happening. But it's all right. We'll find something to do. We'll find something to that's moving. All right. So let's start with the euro dollar, and we do have market PMI today, which is, I mean, just realize that until Friday, there's going to be very little to do. I think. I mean, we might get an explosive move one way or the other, just tripping stops. Maybe blowing out some stops in a very illiquid type of fashion. It's entirely possible, but whatever happens, don't chase. Okay. All right. So let's say, taking a step back with the euro dollar. If you look at the daily, okay, we've come back to 100. Well, it's 161% extension of this last move down. Okay, that comes in at 113.50. We are at 113.40 right now. 618 retracement of the peak at 116.14 down to 109.14. We are at a 618 retracement. So there's a confluence of fibs. All right, if you guys don't understand how to do a fib cluster or a confluence, again, the Fibonacci video that I did for like years ago, it's the only reason why we charge for it, guys, is because we keep it on our servers. You can access it and review it whenever you want, but we pay to have that server access and to save that space for the last several years, and you guys can access it. So we charge basically what it costs to make. It's $30 for crying out loud. It's like buying an ebook, right? We make no money there, believe me. But if you don't understand how to use fibs, it's probably the best investment you can make on for yourself for $30 for crying out loud. Spend more money on that and coffee, I'm sure, every week. Anyway, so the fib extensions are right there, and that cluster is right there. All right. So what does that tell us? And I'm surprised actually we went as high as we did overnight. I wasn't, obviously I was asleep. So 113.65 is going to be key resistance today. As you guys know, 113.65. That's key resistance and support. We have an upsloping trend line that's in play. That support really is at 113 today. So as long as we stay above 113, we are trending higher. We break below 113, we're going to see a little bit of a pullback. All right. And we are in a just a range environment for right now. Just back testing these trend lines, but still in a range environment. All right, let's take a look at the cable. So the pound had a bit of a bounce overnight. Why? Don't know, but we are challenging again that 618 retracement. Whoops, here, that 618 retracement, probing above it, and you notice how relative strength is actually, as we moved higher, relative strength did not. So you got to be really careful chasing the cable up here. This is still, let's get rid of that really quick. Still previous support, current resistance, even though we probed above 132. The 618 is still, the 618 retracement is still significant. I know we're sitting at it right now, but the fact of the matter is we can probe above and below and still be basically respecting that level. So, I'll write down 132.10. It looked like a stop loss run, but 132.10 is resistance at the moment. And as you guys know, we're in a bearish trend as long as we're below 135. Plain and simple, on a monthly, weekly basis, as long as the cable is below 135, it remains bearish. All we're doing is doing some backfilling right now. All we're doing is some backfilling right now while we are below 135. All right, that's it. All right, support for the cable for today. Yeah, let's get rid of these. We don't need those. Those are irrelevant now. This trend is irrelevant. I don't need that now. You know, okay, starting here. Okay, you see this right here, right? That point. See those? See these two right here? These two resistance levels. See that resistance right there? See that resistance right there? See that resistance right there? See that support right here? This is really a very, very high trafficked area as far as I'm concerned. Right through here. Here, 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 right over here, here, support over here, and that comes in at 131. So 131 around thereabouts is going to offer some support for the cable on any move down. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at the Swissy. So the Swissy. Oh, look at this. Now, I'm really tempted at this point to buy some Swiss francs. Remember we talked about this possible inverted head and shoulder pattern? You know what? I might actually buy the Swissy this morning. We were looking at a longer term basis if we can get down here. I just don't know if we're going to do it. Since I don't think the euro's heading much higher, I'm going to buy a little bit of, oh shoot, I didn't want to buy that. I accidentally bought the, sorry, I'm going to buy some Swissy down here. I bought the dollar yen. I just got out of it immediately, but it's like, what the hell am I doing? Okay, so the dollar Swiss, I bought a little bit of dollar Swiss here. I like the fact that we respected the, this 96 cent level overnight, which is, if you look at the hourly, we have the potential of an inverted head and shoulder pattern. All right, now if I take a look at what had happened overnight, the 50% retracement is holding. So, even a move below 96 cents, so like let's say we get to 95.90, I'll add. So 95.90 is support. That's a 50% retracement. I'm going to write that down as key. Resistance, if we get above 96.50, then we start a squeeze. And if you think about, all right, ahead of Friday, ahead of Friday's Jackson Hole Symposium, Janet Yellen talk, all right. If you get above 96.50, you're gonna squeeze, and I could very easily see the U.S. dollar Swiss franc squeezing back up towards 97 cents ahead of Friday. Will it be much of a move? No, I mean it'll be a pretty benign bounce in an overall sideways trending market at the moment. Just kind of a bounce back up to here. So I'm willing to take a shot at it. So I bought some Swissy at 11, 96.11, and so I'm going to sit in it. I'll sit in it, even if I have to sit in it for the next, couple of days. No big deal. It's ahead of Friday. Okay. Let's go over to where am I at? Dollar yen. So dollar yen, I actually accidentally bought the dollar yen, which I don't think was really the smartest thing. But we were talking about it yesterday about having a dip down to 100 yen to be a buyer. Well, it did dip down to 100 yen, actually, and we actually dipped a little bit below 100 yen. Went to 99.90 today as a low. Now, actually, I probably could have just bought the dollar yen and sat in it, but I'm not going to. You know how uncomfortable I am right now with the yen. I think it's safe to say that I am not comfortable with the yen at all at the moment. But we have from here, 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 here. Then we're expecting it here. All right, so obviously key support, which will just completely derail, any type of bounce that we'll see is any move below 99.55, which is obviously very key support. 99.55, critical support. That's why we put the asterisk there. All right, resistance. If the dollar yen's going to get its squeeze on, we have to first of all stop this series of lower highs on the hourly. We might be making a higher low, who knows. I would say we have to get over this 100.40. If we can do that, then we'll take this downside pressure off. 100.40. It's a range. All right. Excuse me. Dollar Canadian. All right. Here's the Canadian. Now, crude I checked with the front month contract, by the way. Crude is down, or was down 1%. We're only down 0.5% right now. There's October contracts. Crude oil has the being down has really had no effect on the Canadian. But if you look at the Canadian, what's happened here? Okay, we have first of all this longer term trend line coming into play, right? Really see that longer term trend line coming into play right here. So I'm going to make it a different color. Just okay. Now we had this minor trend line that was broken. We tested it. We tested the underside of it overnight. You see it? Low, right? Low, low. The underside of it rejected. So what that means is actually we'll have to break. I miscalculated yesterday because I thought I was above 129.30 was going to really start to squeeze. It looks like this underside of this trend line is still very significant, which means that any move up to 129.60 is going to be a tough nut to crack. Support. It's hard to say where support is here for the Canadian. It really is. We're respecting a 38% retracement intraday thus far. Previous resistance, current support, 38% retracement. But any dip down to 128.40, which is obviously the 618, a couple breakout points here. That's probably where the next support's going to be, is if we continue to come down. 128.40. It's not great support, but probably will hold today on any dip. Oh, sorry, this is bearish. I think it's bearish while we're below this blue line, actually. Like I said, I may have been. We may this red trend line may be more significant. You know what? I'm gonna switch it over to range for right now. Actually, until that red line breaks, I'm gonna keep it over at range. Like I said, for now. Okay. All right, guys. When I come back, we'll finish up with the Kiwi, the Aussie, dollar index, peso, Nordic currencies. I'll be back in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. Thanks, everyone. Hi, traders. This is Blake Morrow. You are listening to the Morning Edge webinar. Sorry for the wait, and we're going to continue on. So, um, here's the Kiwi. Now, the Kiwi, Wheeler comments came last night. I mean, Wheeler's such a jagoff. He's saying his comments were like, the monetary policy may not be as aggressive or may not need to be as aggressive as once thought. It's like, man, you want to talk about a flip-flopper? This guy flip-flops all over the place. Obviously, we're up at some resistance here, but even if we get a push higher in the Kiwi, you have to realize that we have the channel top just above where we're at. We can realistically make it up to 74 cents. The highs here obviously are significant today. We've reached a high of 73.40 thus far. I'd be a little hesitant about shorting the Kiwi just yet. I mean, we're obviously you know what your risk is, but to me it feels like the Kiwi wants to squeeze above the highs. Okay, it does. It may not. I'm just saying it. It feels to me that it could. If we do, 74 cents would be the next stop. Okay, we are in a range, but yeah, Graham Wheeler. I mean, goes from we're not cutting rates anymore to okay, we're going to cut rates, then to now we're not going to be too aggressive though as we're cutting rates. It's like, dude. And on top of that, what they're trying to engineer is a weaker currency, which is not working. Which is the ironic part of it all. Just silly. Anyway, it'll take a move back below 73 cents, I think, to really derail any bulls. So anybody who's bullish right now, they're probably not really worried about the Kiwi while we're above 72.90, I would say. Okay, let's go over to the Aussie. All right, here's the Aussie. So as we talked yesterday, the Aussie could make its way back up towards what we considered as channel highs, right around here. I think yesterday we wrote down 76.60, if I'm not mistaken. Can you guys tell me what we wrote down yesterday as resistance for the Aussie? What was it that we wrote down resistance for the Aussie? Anybody from yesterday? 76.60? Okay, thank you. Thanks. All right, thanks, guys. 76.60. I wasn't sure exactly. I wasn't sure if we wrote 70 or 60. All right, so I probably should have wrote 70, and the reason why I'm saying that now is because from the highs, the 50% retracement comes in at 76.70, and then from this spike high, we're also at 76.70. So we might grind a little higher here. So let's mark that 76.70. I knew we had something up here written down, but just as we approach that resistance, just be careful. Okay, I think we are in a range. Obviously, following the, what I really should be doing right now. I really should be selling some Aussie soon. Remember, we had a weekly tweezer top. I sold the Aussie on Friday, covered it Sunday, and I should be selling it here soon. I might actually land into some Aussie. Yo, what's up, man?
Yeah, we talked about this earlier on the Aussie dollar. 76.57 is a level, but remember 76.78 is the prior month's high. Remember when the market was falling apart that a Friday before, and once we got that 2 hour close below 76.78, it accelerated into the close to close like at 76.45, and then of course we went a whole lot lower. So any moves up to 76.78, which was that prior month's high, and 76.57 is a key level on the 2 hour chart. Anywhere between that 57 to 77 is going to be a good area to get short the Aussie dollar.
Yeah, I think being short the Aussie up here is not a bad idea. Especially again, it's following last week's move. So
And don't
yeah,
forget the news is still bearish. Which remember that actually kicked. Remember the Aussie had rallied back above 77, and then it came down to about 76.78, the same area. And then that news came out overnight that Moody's was looking to go in and downgrade their banks, and then that sent the Aussie. It sent it ultimately ended up sending it down to 75.98 before it bounced up to like to the 20s. Then it came back to 75.83. So if you look at it, they found support on a double bottom at 75.83. Around that move up to 77, that's going to be almost 100 pips off of the bottom. So I think that is a very good area to get short the Aussie. Anywhere between that 60 to 77 area is going to be an excellent place for those people that want to hang on for Aussie shorts. But I just let you know what that was a pretty key area since you're already looking at short.
got it. All right, thanks, man.
Okay,
Appreciate it.
bye.
All right, bye. Hold on. Stand by really quick, guys. Stand by. Sorry about that, guys. We have a pretty bad thunderstorm here. It's waking up my kids. They came in the office. They're like, "Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get back to sleep." I'm like, "Like you guys are gonna be hurting for Coldplay tonight." Anyway, okay, so um, resistance will be up here. Let's see where support is, and this is we drew this yesterday, so we've been grinding higher. Support for the Aussie. Okay, if I can just ever get this blue line, damn it, there we go. All right, let's figure out where support is. Uh, I don't know. Yeah, our satellite just went out. Fortunately, the internet's working fine, but our satellite just went out. Support is going to be, we'll just write this 76.30 right here, the spike low. All right, let's go. All right, let's go look at the dollar index here. So the dollar index, as you guys know, we have here. Let's just stay on this 4-hour chart. So as you guys know, we have channel support, which is huge. I mean, this A, B, C, D channel support held us. That's why the dollar should find some support here. I mean, you guys know that if we do break below 94.05, that'll be a pretty bearish event for the dollar index. I don't expect that to happen ahead of Jackson Hole, but it could. I'm not expecting it, but yeah, if the market wants to just flush stops, that's an easy way to do it. Okay. Let's take a look at the. Oh, I was just looking at the dollar index. Taking a look at resistance. So resistance. Yesterday we talked about this resistance that held at 95. I wasn't sure if we were going to fill the gap, but we did fill the gap. We came obviously lower. So any rally now back to, well, I would say back to 95 is going to be resistance. It's just not very. I don't think we're going to get up there today, frankly. Okay, but I have to write it down because we are in a range. All right, let's take a look at the peso. This is one currency I've not looked at yet today. So let's take a look at the peso. Oh, here we are at support. And not only are we at support, probably a trend line support too at 1820. You know, if the peso is going to bounce here, it's going to bounce right now because it's also a function of risk aversion too. You know what I mean? Notice how we pushed below those lows just briefly. So 18.95 I'll write down. And actually just write down 1820. Same as we had yesterday. Resistance. We're getting the monsoon showers over here, just so you guys know. Pretty bad weather. So any move up to 1832, probably find some resistance. It is trendline resistance. We're in a range. All right, let's go over to the Swedish krona. Or here's the Norwegian krona. We'll do that first. The Norwegian krona, we are definitely having a tough time right now with this range. 825 to 812, right? Remember, 812 is significant because if we break through 812, that will signal that we are for sure coming out of this triangle. I don't know if that's going to happen ahead of the Jackson Hole speech. So 825 to 812, still same numbers. Okay, and there's a range threatening to turn bearish here. Here's the US dollar Swedish krona. Swedish krona is on support. This is trendline support. If you guys want to buy dollars, this is the place to do it, like right now. It's like, do I really want to buy any right now? I kind of do, and put in a really tight stop. I mean, your risk is below, let's just say like 832. So I mean, we're right on support at 833 right now. Right on support. Resistance. We wrote down yesterday at 842.50. Same number. All right. And we are in a range. All right, guys. So there's your. Actually, you know what? I'm sorry. This dollar yen is bearish. I don't know what I was thinking there when I put down range. It's been bearish. It's continued to stay bearish. All right. Your bias chart's done. It's finished. So there you go.